I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to issue major spoiler alert. We are going to be going over everything from the new DC holiday movie, Merry Little Batman. So if you haven't seen that movie yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Amazon Prime, check that out, and then come back and enjoy the holiday breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything from the new holiday movie, Merry Little Batman, it's Jon Jon Rico!
Hello.
Hello!
How we doing?
And a Merry Little Batman to you.
And a merry little Batman to everybody out there, and to you as well.
Thank you. So look, if this didn't get you into the holiday spirit, there is nothing that's going to get you there.
Oh, man.
I have to say that because, look, I made this note as I was watching it, and it was so significant I had to put it in the rundown as the very first thing. This movie instantly grabbed me with their song selection for the opening credits, which was Father Christmas from the Kinks. And it's just...
Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys.
The theme of this movie we're gonna go through in depth and everything like that, but I just have to kick it off with this. That song is such an odd song, but it was shown to me by my dad at a young age. So I've grown to appreciate that song, like growing up and hearing it as like when I was really young, like even younger than we had the small mini Batman in this movie. Even younger than that was when I heard this song around the holidays. So just hearing that immediately grabbed me. I was like, all right, I'm in. Like just right off the bat. But my initial kind of impression of this movie and the way that I would kind of describe it to anybody is this movie kind of played out like a holiday kid's book, like a book that you would read around the holidays to a kid, basically, like where you kind of have they're one of their favorite superheroes, and you kind of make it a holiday twist on it. It is without getting into like all of the details before we kind of get into big takeaways and stuff like that. But it just I mean that in the best way possible. Like this is kind of like it just plays out very well as what you would expect from like one of those kind of like seasonal books and seasonal movies and seasonal cartoons that kind of we've had as kids growing up and seeing that and like seeing the holiday editions of certain shows and cartoons and stuff like that. So there is so much to kind of unpack and appreciate from this movie. And I liked it way more than I thought I was going to. But before we get into anything, Rico, what were some of your like initial impressions of Merry Little Batman?
Oh man, this is like everything I love, kind of like about what DC does well with Batman, and also just kind of like when they play around with one kid style shows, like animation is always kind of like where they excel the most. And for the longest time we've gotten a lot of the same stuff in the same like DC animated universe, so a lot of the same style of animation that we're used to seeing in a lot of other mediums. But this one brought in a whole unique style of art, and there's so much to love about this movie, from the animation style itself to the voice acting, which is just, we got a great like core cast here of great voice acting from from Luke Wilson being Batman, which is like, what world do you think you're ever gonna see Luke Wilson being Batman? This is the perfect way you're gonna see it. James Cromwell being Alfred, it's just like, come on, he's a legend in his own right, and so it's like just him voicing Alfred is really cool in itself. And then we were talking about this before we started airing, but the voice of the Joker, voiced by David Hornsby, who, if you're a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he is famously known as the character of Cricket, who I think is one of the funniest characters on television. So if you haven't watched that show, first of all, go do yourself a favor and watch it. But
Binge
yeah,
it at this point.
yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, there is just so much to love from this from beginning to end. And again, DC kind of combines all these great things. We got a father-son story mixed with some Christmas story aspects, and then you throw it inside the Batman world. You got all the elements of a great story that I like. That fans like me are gonna flock to. So yeah, I just had a smile on my face from beginning to end, and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I mean, just to follow up exactly what you were saying, I really did appreciate the animation style. Like I was telling you before we even started recording, it felt like that style of animation that we used to see on like older Cartoon Network shows, on older Nickelodeon shows, like almost like you said Fairly Odd Parents. I said
Yeah,
Rocko's
all
Modern
real
Life.
monsters.
Ah, Real Monsters. Yeah, absolutely. Like that kind of style, like
Yeah.
where we can still appreciate it now type of thing, but we could also on a level we could appreciate it as little kids where we weren't getting everything, and now we rewatch it and we get other things that we missed, especially with Rocco. Holy crap. But
Stimpy,
yeah, Ren and Stimpy, yeah. But
definitely
like
out there.
yeah. And so I really appreciated the animation style in this, and a lot of kind of like small references and just small jokes and stuff here and there. And just like you said, at the core, it is a father-son holiday story. It has all the elements of that kind of thing too. And that's what I was kind of getting at when I was like leading in at the beginning and saying that, it's funny that, my dad showed me Father Christmas, the song, and that became kind of a song I've always associated with the holidays. And now that it was the opening song to this with a father-son story, it was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
But do you want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna kick off big takeaways. I just have to say this. It's the only takeaway that I had, other than, I mean, there's so many things and so many like stuff that I enjoyed from this. Like I said, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was really going to enjoy it going into it. But probably the biggest thing that I noticed as the movie was happening, and I immediately had to write it in like as I was watching, was we had a really nice combination of Batman universe and Home Alone. Like where he was setting traps and doing all this stuff. It was awesome. And look, I love Die Hard and I love Home Alone. And, those were like big elements of both of those movies where they're setting traps and they're doing that kind of stuff. And this just combined that with the holidays and with Batman, and it was perfect. So that
all
was
the stuff with Damien taking on Terry and Francine or whatever in the mansion was just so good.
Yeah. So that was my biggest takeaway from this. Like I said, other than that, I mean, I immensely enjoyed the entire movie. I definitely recommend it as like a holiday watch and stuff like that. But that was just my biggest takeaway. Not only did the opening song grab me, but like that whole part of the movie where it really did feel like kind of a cartoon Home Alone mixed with Batman. I was like, this is perfect. This is great. This is everything I wanted. But Rico, what were some of your big takeaways from Merry Little Batman?
Yeah, I love that whole sequence of that with Terry, Francine, and Damien in the Bat Mansion and stuff like that. But it also, every time I was watching, I was also thinking of the movie Three Ninjas as well, when they have the three burglars who come in and he just comes in and kicks their asses, right?
Yeah.
So because of like the martial arts aspect of the Batman character, I kind of just throw in that comparison as well. But really, the biggest thing about this movie that I really took away from it is that this is this is a very different take on Damian Wayne that we're used to seeing in really any other iteration of the character. And I really enjoyed it. Like he's really just gets to be a normal kid who is being raised by Bruce, basically as like a normal child, but he wants to be Batman growing up and stuff like that, which is really funny. Because if you've ever seen Damian in any other version of the character, in whether it's in movies or in the video games or comics itself, he's kind of a little asshole because he's the grandson, of course, of Ra's al Ghul and the son of Talia. So he's kind of raised under that, the League of Shadows. So when he kind of goes to live with Bruce, he's kind of like this. He's got this a lot of confidence, and he just feels like he's above the whole Robin moniker. So to kind of see him in this different context, of course, for obviously for the audience that they're aiming this story to, it makes a lot of sense. But it's just kind of cool to kind of see him again, kind of like you're saying, be the Kevin McAllister kind of like of the
Yeah.
story, right? And so for someone that's been a longtime fan of the Damien character, it is kind of cool to see this fun different take on him.
Yeah, I mean, they played it up perfectly. They did that really nice kind of balance between, like, he is a little asshole every once in a
Yeah,
while.
he's
Like,
capable as well. Yeah,
yeah, but to be fair, so was Kevin McAllister in the beginning of Home Alone. Like,
yeah,
and that kind of leads into, the main kind of part of the stories, which happens in both Home Alone and in this movie, where they have to, like, learn and understand, and
yeah,
yeah, and
without their
and
parent.
exactly, and
Yeah,
and so it really does have some of those same themes. Like, they both kind of have some of the, like, similar themes in like the best way possible, where it does feel like we're seeing growth of a character, and we've got this holiday, this holiday theme to everything, and yeah, so
yeah, I do. They do kind of the same approach with Batman as well, because he is kind of like he is a goofball, such like to catch him like kind of like being like, just kind of a softie at moments, because he's
right.
reflecting on how he's raising Damien and stuff like that. But then he has this great moment at the end when he comes in and saves the dead. He has like that true like Batman moment where, like, okay, you're gonna give like them like, yeah, that's Batman. He's super badass at the end of the day. There's a reason why he's Batman. So I love that. Just the way they handle him there. It's funny because we were talking about how that I compared it to the Fairly Odd Parents. How in the Fairly Odd Parents they have the whole Crimson Chin, Cleft
Yeah,
the Boy Chin Wonder, and I feel like the design of the characters here is that, like, Damien is Cleft the Boy Chin Wonder, and Batman like has like that big broad chin, so they kind of like Crimson Chinned in a little bit. So yeah, I just kind of like really enjoyed those little meta jokes here and there. There's a lot of fun like meta Batman jokes within this movie that are just really fun, especially the whole Mr. Freeze stuff.
yep.
It's a lot of fun.
I also really like, and it's not like it's just a weird joke that I really like, is when when Bruce finally has to, take up the cape again, because
Mhm.
he originally has eliminated all of crime and stuff like that. When he has to
Yeah.
finally respond to something, he puts everything back on, and he still has his beard, and Alfred goes, "Are you gonna shave the beard?" He goes, "I think it looks cool."
Yeah.
And then Joker is the only other person that says that it looks super intimidating.
Yeah. Absolutely. Bearded Batman all day.
I thought that was awesome. I just like the little jokes there, here and there, like that. I really appreciated it. And look, it was a happily ever after in general. Like, I mean, we had Joker singing the classic Batman Christmas
Mhm.
song that we all would sing as little kids, and yeah, I mean, it was. And
I
he
love
tried to
how his
change it.
whole villain like angle too is just like making a kid believe that he ruined Christmas,
Yeah,
basically. Too.
we
Like,
was trying to create a supervillain
yeah,
as a
that was,
kid.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, he's like, you're the new supervillain. Like, now you're
exactly.
one of us. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like, oh man, it's just really well done.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Look, if you haven't watched it and you're watching our recap, I appreciate you for watching our recap. But I strongly recommend it. I think it is a very pleasant, surprising, uh, holiday Batman movie. Um,
Absolutely.
but Rico, you want to get to some predictions?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Why don't you kick off predictions?
As I was watching this, I was just thinking, like, like, I wonder what you could do with this, like, this whole world that they kind of built with this specific art style and stuff like that. Could you do a whole like another movie and just start doing an original story like that? But then I started looking online. I read that they're actually going to do a TV series spinoff.
Nice.
So I'm very excited to hear that that's actually going to be happening. Because I feel like this would make an excellent animated TV show for DC. Kind of like in the same realm of like Teen Titans Go, how that kind of has been
Yeah.
succeeding for a long time. This could be a great Batman animated series that could go on for quite a few seasons, I would imagine. So I hope a lot of people would like tune into it and make it last. But there's a lot of ways you can go with this storyline because there's a lot of characters they left out. Of course, we were talking about the whole rest of the Bat family that wasn't in this movie. We have the extra Robins, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake. You can bring all of them in. You know, Dick Grayson could be Nightwing. You can bring in Tim Drake is probably Robin still, because there's a reason. I imagine there's a reason why they didn't make Damian put on a Robin costume, as opposed to just him put on a new Batman costume, right? And then of course you have Jason Todd, who could just be Red Hood if you wanted to. That would be pretty cool. And then you got other characters like Batgirl and all that. And then other villains like Two-Face that they haven't brought in. So there's a lot of stuff they can keep introducing. Court of Owls. That you can just the sky's the limit here is for story potential. So where they just do like singular stories per episode, or they start want to do like this kind of like serialized arc. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do.
Yeah, same. And I mean, I'm kind of just in a as my prediction, just kind of in agreement with you. I'd love to see more. I like the angle of turning it into a series versus trying to do another movie, just because like I think this was a really good way to test the waters on if this works.
Mm-hmm.
And it does, and it works really well. But it is a holiday movie. So to follow up with another movie, you don't know for sure if it'll feel stale or anything like that. But making it into a TV series means that they can play around with stuff. They can introduce,
you can do anything.
Other Robins. They can have a Batgirl. They can have other villains. They can have it,
Catwoman.
Yeah. We already had Selena the cat.
I was gonna say we got Selena the cat. We gotta imagine where Selena Kyle herself is. How's she feel about the cat being named after her?
Right. Right. But I think it's the smartest way to do this, because they can try things and see if things work and still have, the freedom to later on do another movie and stuff like that. But you can still test the waters of, did this just work because it was a holiday movie, or does this really work, moving forward type of thing. And hopefully it does, just like you said. Hopefully a lot of people enjoyed this and enjoy the series, and we can kind of get more and more from this, because I like this level of, kids can appreciate this, and then grown-ups that, are into these characters can also appreciate it. I like anything that can do that. It's like the best of both worlds type of thing. So
there's a reason why him and Spider-Man have always been kind of like the most reiterated characters, because they have this vast world of storytelling, and this is kind of proof of it right here.
Yeah. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of Merry Little Batman? And what do you think is up next for the TV series itself? Are they going to, introduce all of the Bat family? Are they going to introduce new villains? What are they going to do? The sky's the limit. There are no wrong answers here. And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.